welcome to Lady Cinema, and on this episode we will see how a group of superheroes will save the world when the world was first born, into becoming part of the normal culture of the human world because they were mortals, only to find out that there is more purpose to them than meets the eyes, and including a hidden agenda that they have to follow to stop one of the worst threats ever imagined in superhero history in Marvel's Eternals. Marvel Eternals is a new superhero action adventure sci-fi film directed by one Chloe Zhao, who initially went into this movie basing it off of the characters created by Jack Kirby from Marvel Comics. And this is really the worst way how to do a Marvel film. And especially what's worse is that it's pretty much the way not to do a superhero film entirely. And don't mind me, I accidentally swiped my thumb open here earlier, so you might see a band-aid in some of the films that I'm doing. So, well, let's talk about Marvel's Eternals and why I didn't like it as much as I did. The film, directed by Chloe Zhao, also who did a screenplay of the movie, really felt like that they didn't know what way to go with this movie at all. Because in fact, while it is a superhero film, it doesn't exactly feel like a superhero film that should fit in this day and age, especially with a lot of superhero films now becoming normal by people's standards and a lot of people look forward to them. This is by no means anywhere an exception to the previous blockbuster before this film, which was both Shang-Chi and also Spider-Man No Way Home. This is exactly the worst way of how to do a Marvel film. Now, the problem is that it's not with the actors. All of the actors in this film fit in beautifully and phenomenally. And also the fight scenes, choreography are stupendous, and also so are some of the special effects and CGI, which doesn't look bad, especially the monster designs, which are pretty unique by my standards. But this movie has a lot of a tell, don't show happening, and that's what really drags down the film. The fact that they want to tell us a bunch of things about the Eternals, but at the same time, they're not showing us, they're just telling us. There is no character development in this movie except for Cersei and also Athena. Besides that, the whole entire rest of the movie feels like it's kind of falling apart at the rims here, but like a car that tried to keep driving with on a rim, it struggled to keep itself maintained, and especially that this film had some unique ideas, and yet the film itself destroys it. For the Eternals, I thought that they were a lot like, like Marvel's own Inhumans, for example. I thought they'd be a lot like the Jack Kirby Stanley Inhumans, but in fact, they're a lot worse than that because I thought that these were a team that was basically based off of either Jack Kirby's new gods or the gods of Olympus from Greek mythology. It's a lot worse than that. Trust me and believe me. The main enemy of the film, also when they do like the dun 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 reveal, it feels really tacked on at like last minute. It's like, shit, we don't have a villain for this movie. Here we go, now we do. This film story feels like it wanted to include a bunch of the comic series, a bunch of the Eternals, and just cram it into a blender. But the worst part about this is that it almost feels like M. Night Shyamalan's The Last Airbender, trying to shove too much in too little time. But this movie feels way much longer than it needs to be, and I don't mean that in the best way, I mean that in the worst way. This film is boring with a lot of exposition, a lot of backstory and everything, and it just feels so tacked on. Almost like that they didn't have this idea from the beginning. Weird. And of course there is an after credit sequence which is setting up Marvel's galactic universe by introducing the character known as Star Fox. No, not the Nintendo Star Fox. The other Star Fox. In case you don't know who Star Fox is, he is a galactic Marvel superhero who was on the Avengers. I believe he was also on Guardians of the Galaxy. So it makes sense that he is in this too, setting up the Marvel Galactic Universe, which means that there could be a film about him in the future And of course, he was pretty damn good for the movie too. But the fact is, even without that being in place, this film still falls out, and it's one of the worst superhero films I've ever seen. And considering that I've seen both Captain America Civil War and Bloodshot, yeah, I'm sorry to say that this is a lot worse than the both of them, and I owe them an apology. Because this is a film I can probably watch for the fight scenes alone, but everything else still falls apart, and pretty much its legacy of Jack Kirby has been destroyed. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to become eternal yourselves and join the Unimind by subscribing, and also follow me on Twitter if you haven't already. Like the video and tell me what you thought about Marvel's Eternal. Did you like it? Did you hate it? And do you agree with me thinking that the movie had too long with a story that's just incomprehensible? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'm Lazy Universe, tuning out, and until next time.